I'm Lydia Loveless, and welcome to Out of the Fog. We have hoops of fun for you this evening. First, we have Coach Gaines with the Newfoundland Rogues talking all things basketball. And of course, we have author Chris Ryan who's talking about self-publishing. You won't want to miss this. We'll be right back. And welcome back. Today I have a very special guest with me. I have head coach of the Newfoundland Rogues, Reece Gaines. So Coach, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. And of course, so for those who may not know you, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got to your journey to Newfoundland.
Obviously, I've been playing basketball, involved in basketball for over 25 years. I started my career, I guess, pretty young, maybe about 2 or 3 years old, when my dad used to take me to the gym and put the ball in my hands and ask me to shoot and lift me up to dunk. And I kind of fell in love since I was a child. So I went to the University of Louisville, played for a great head coach named Rick Pitino. He's a Hall of Fame coach. They're doing great right now. He actually coaches for St. John's. And I learned from him, got drafted in the 2003 draft with LeBron James and Dwayne Wade and those guys. Wow. And went overseas, played for some really good clubs. And after I was over, I just, I was still in love with basketball. I wanted to be a part of it, and I kind of went back to ask Coach Pitino, what should I do? And he said I should get into coaching. And from there, I worked my way up from Division II coach, and coached, for the Austin Spurs in the G League. Coached my alma mater, University of Louisville. Coached a really talented TBT team, and now I'm here.
Wow, and how are you finding Newfoundland?
Man, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah?
The people are friendly. I'm enjoying the weather too. I get a chance to stay inside, focus on my job, and try to help these guys become better players.
That's awesome. And how are you finding your affiliation with the Mary Brown Center? I know being back and having your new position, how's that been for you? It's
been great. It's a great facility. The people that work there have been very friendly, helping me out, making sure I can get in the locker room, get everything we need, taking care of us. The fans have been awesome. So it's been a really good experience being at Mary Brown Center.
Wow, that's great. And, I haven't been to this season yet, but I plan on fully coming out and supporting you and seeing a game.
Good, we need you. We need all the people we can get in there to fill up the arena. The guys play really, really hard because they appreciate the support and they want to be worthy of it.
Excellent. And so I do know recently that, the owner, Tony Kinney, actually mentioned that there might be some affiliations with the NBA G League. So how has that been, or how would that affect the growth of the team?
I think if that were possible, it would affect the growth of the team and in the league, to be honest. It'd probably be a bigger situation because it'll give a place for the G League guys who aren't quite ready to stay on that roster to still develop and still be a part of the clubs in the organizations. And
with regards to that, with that transformation, do you think that that is something that will be happening, or you want to see that happening?
I mean, I would, if that's possible, I would love to see that happen. I think it would bring an influx of more talented players. Even the coaches will be higher level because you have to deal with, that quality of player. You need obviously the same amount of coaches with the same fire, the same, I guess, focus on their craft as the players.
So what is your coaching philosophy and how has it evolved over the years?
I think your philosophy evolves as you change as a person. So I remember hearing someone say, an artist is only as good as you are as a human being. That's the only thing you can express what's within yourself. So for me, I think my philosophy basically is put the players first and put them in the best position to succeed. If you start there, that's when you get, that should be your focal point, and then you can add on and build from there.
So are there any specific, plays or strategies that you typically rely on for the season?
Yes, the hardest thing to do with this level of play right now. We've got a lot of young guys who are just becoming professionals, is finding what someone does great and making sure they stay in that area, that level of genius that they have that makes them different from everyone else. And that's kind of what I've been trying to do, is see what these guys do great. Now, it's an adjustment for me. I have to sometimes help them be great at something.
Yeah.
So I can put them in those positions.
And how would you describe, the team's defense and offense?
Defensively, we would like to be extremely intense. Mm-hmm. We would like to dictate to the offense what we want them to do. Just apply pressure everywhere on the floor and let them know that we're there and be as physical as possible.
And, like you had mentioned, having that community support is so important. So is there anything that you want to see more from the community or from your fan base?
Not much. They've been great. We just want to see them out there. I think anytime you have an organization that's downtown, I've noticed that there's so many young basketball players in this community, people who love basketball. I think the more the Rogues grow, it'd be better for the community, better for the young people, which is most important to me.
Yeah, and we're seeing you all out in the community and doing a lot of interactions locally. So do you have any other engagements or any events that you're doing with the public?
I know the Rogues, that's all we do. I think once a day, a couple times a week. We're always out trying to see how we can better and serve the community. So I'm not sure exactly what we have, but you'll see us out there somewhere.
Excellent, and we definitely can see you at the Mary Brown Center. So
yes, please come out. Yes.
And so, what does it mean to you as a coach to seeing this come around and seeing your team doing so well? Because you are at this point. 5 games that you've won so far. So tell us a little bit how you're doing this season and how you plan to improve.
Man, I think we're doing okay. I think the biggest, what I've learned as a first-year head coach is unexpected adversity is where we're, how to deal with that, how to bring your team together through those trying times. I think once I get better at that, the team gets better at that, we'll keep improving. So we had some ups and downs a little bit. But what I do appreciate is the community is still supporting us. And the guys have to re-earn their trust, re-earn in terms of their effort to give the people something to support, because they deserve it from their support, how much support they've given us.
And you've been in this role now since November.
Yes.
And so are there any memorable experiences or special things that have happened that really stood out to you since you've been in this role? Yeah,
a few. Just for example, what I just said about ups and downs. We beat the #1 team in the league in the last second shot, and a really good player hits it, and everyone's excited. And then just kind of deal with that high, and then dealing with lows. The first time ever as a coach, I got my butt kicked by a lot of points, and how we dealt with that. And the best thing, my best memory is, I think the next weekend we still had a pretty good crowd, and seeing the young people still supporting our players. It was great, beautiful to see.
That is great. And like I said, I see so many people supporting you. It's so nice to see, because you have such a great fan base here in Newfoundland. So we'd like to see more of that.
We got to keep growing, especially for the basketball community. I would never guess that so many people here really love and play basketball a lot and have a lot invested into it. And I think it's always good to have a program or organization here that the young people can look up to and see and kind of feel in touch, and not have to always be on TV and looking from afar.
So every team has their character. So let's get in depth a bit, some of the team members. So who's the entertainer? Who's the funny one?
Well, we have the problem.
Everybody's funny.
The problem is everyone's funny. I would say most of the team is trying to be who can be the best diva award right now. So I got to work on that. So no, but the guys are great. A lot of personality, a lot of excitement. They all really appreciate this opportunity they have to continue their professional career.
That's excellent. And so is there anyone that is I'll say the entertainer, we talked about that, but is there anyone that's very funny that, you know, the comedian of the team?
I would say maybe David Jason.
Oh, yes.
He has a good personality. Yeah.
He really does.
Good personality. So but I think it's him. I think it's him. Not shy. He's a really good guy.
Yeah, that is. And so do you have any advice for someone that may, you know, want to get involved or even play basketball eventually?
Yeah, I think that, especially for a young person who wants to take this serious, I think, especially this day and age, the hardest thing to do is kind of separate from the crowd and from the group. And the only way to be successful in this game is to be dedicated, devoted to it 100%. And I know that's difficult, but at the end of the day, that's kind of the first step of leadership. And I think if you put everything you have into the craft, it'll work out for you.
And can you share any, you know, any behind-the-scenes memories or anything that's been inspiring that you think our viewers might be inspired by?
I would say, real quick story. I don't know if it's inspiring or not, but I would say I played for the Houston Rockets, and there was a coach named Jeff Van Gundy who only put me in the last minute of the game, and I took it personal. I thought that he didn't like me. Come to find out that he trusted me, and at the time I didn't appreciate it. So if you're a young basketball player, remember every chance you get is important. And sometimes your coach may like you more than you think. So keep working, and keep playing, and keep going. That
is actually super inspiring. So thank you for sharing that. And so where can people find out more about the Newfoundland Rogues and get more updates on your team? I'm
sure the website, NFLD Rogues. You know, I'm not very good with technology. Excuse me. I have no idea. But I think I know we're on Twitter or X. I know we're on. I'm pretty sure Facebook and all the social media outlets. So just type in Rogues and you'll figure out something. You'll find something for sure.
That's great, and like I said, I'm keeping up with you guys, so I have to come up to a game and support you.
Good. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for being here with us today, Coach, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks. And we'll be right back after this short break.
Your opinion matters, and we want to hear from you. Get in touch with us using our viewer feedback line, your direct connection to shaping the shows you love. It's easy. Just grab your phone, scan the QR code on your screen, and take our quick survey. Share your thoughts, and let's make your viewing experience even better.
And welcome back. Today I have with me author Chris Ryan in the studio. So Chris, thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you for having me in and having me in as a self-published author.
Yes, and that's something that I wanted to get into because that's something I'm not quite familiar with. So I know that our audience would love to know more. But before we get into that, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'll be 61 in March. I grew up in Bay Bulls. I live in Whittle Bay now. I have two stepdaughters, Stacey and Holly. Wife is Tina. Martial artist, trained in karate 35 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Voracious reader, big environmentalist, and that's more or less me.
And you've got 5 books out now, is that right?
6 books, 5 novels, 5 self-published novels.
Wow. So how did you get into this, and how did you realize, like, I want to be an author and get
I
into
never ever thought I'd be an author, but I guess if you're a diehard reader, everybody kind of dreams that you like to see your name on the cover of a book. So during the Bay Bull standoff in December 2010, myself, my brother, and a bunch of friends watched it from an elevated gravel pit about a third of a kilometre away, watched Mr. Crockwell's house with high-power binoculars and scopes, because I'm a diehard birder,
Yes.
bird watcher, or birder.
Yes, from Bay Bulls,
Yep.
of course.
So about a year and a half later, I kept saying to my wife, I wish somebody would write a book about a standoff. I wish somebody would write a book about a standoff. Because I always believe any event or circumstance is worthy of a book. So I kept saying to my wife, she said to me one day, she said, will you shut up and go write that bloody book? So the next day I went downstairs in the basement, I started writing, and I was down there the whole day for 8 or 10 hours, and I had like 3,200, 3,500 words, and that was the gist of it. 8 months later, I had it finished, and it was finished with my abilities. So I brought it into a publisher, and they published it, and we sold over 4,000 copies, and within 2 weeks of it being released, it was signed to a movie deal with Unstoppable Urges Productions out of Toronto.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
And so since then you've been...
So after that, then, as I said, I think anybody can write a true story if they're involved in it, or they witness it, or they follow it. So after that, I wanted to see if I could write fiction, because to me, writing a book of fiction is a challenge. It's an art.
Yes.
Right? Not everyone can do it. So after publishing the first one, I sat down and I started writing Working Cape Race, and it took me 5 years. And it's so much different in writing a true story, because you live the event of the true story. It's only putting what's in your mind, what you witnessed and see, and when you're involved in on paper. But when you're writing a book of fiction, you're making it up as you go. And especially historical fiction, you got to have your timelines right, because if you don't, it kills your credibility. So when you're writing fiction, historical fiction, you got to do a lot of research. And I spend a lot of time doing research for my novels, because most of them are historical fiction, and I enjoy it because you're learning so much about what went on in the 70s. Like a couple of my murder mysteries are based in the 70s. So I had to reach out to people, and I had to go to archives and do research to get everything in order, make sure everything jived.
Wow, and you've been super successful. You know, Ladies in Lane, that's been very successful as well. So tell us a little bit about some of your books here.
Well, my first novel is called Working Cape Race. It's about two young guys who live in Cape Hayden on the southern shore. Butch Hines. Now, Butch is not very smart, and his best friend is Rory O'Ryan. He's really smart. And they were selling drugs up and down the southern shore from the Goose to Trepassey. So, unbeknownst to Rory, Butch does an armed robbery at the Scotiabank in the Ghouls. Oh. So the police chase him. They go down the Shaw Bay Road. They get out and run down to the coastline. Butch had a conversation with a group of professors and students at Mike's Hotel in Cape Royal, that's long gone, that they were building a hiking trail from Fort Amherst to Cape Race. And Butch had told this to Rory. So when they got to the coastline at the bottom of Sherrill Bay Road, they see this footpath. So Rory put 2 and 2 together. Well, this must be the trail that Butch told me about. So he starts walking, and it takes him 12 days to get from the Ghouls to Cape Race Lighthouse to get a stash of marijuana they had buried. When they get there, it was stolen.
Wow.
So that's the gist of the story. And I had never thought on a sequel to it, or it was worthy of a sequel. But everybody kept asking me, who stole the marijuana, and did they get caught, and would there be payback? So I sat down, and in 6 months, I wrote this, the sequel, Working the Trail. Wow. Now, as they were going down the southern shore, Butch was leaving these inscriptions in the trees. Butch Hines, Rory O'Ryan. The event happens in May '82. Butch was leaving these in the trees, and this is how the police started an investigation. From the time they turned themselves in, after the marijuana was gone at the lighthouse in Cape Race, they turned themselves into the police in Fairland and pleaded guilty. The police never figured out how they got from the Ghouls, because they knew they'd done the armed robbery, the detachment in Fairland. So when about a year and a half later, a person reported this inscription behind the cabin at the bottom of Keys Road in Bay Bull. So the police start doing an investigation, and then they start finding these up along Southern Shore. So in their investigation, the cop that was on their trail while they were on the run flies off to Spring Hill Penitentiary and has an interview with Rory and tells him about this, and Rory knew absolutely nothing about it.
Sounds so interesting, Chris. I can't wait to read them.
And he was not. And there was nothing he could do because Butch was over in Dorchester Penitentiary.
Yeah.
But 6 months later, just before Christmas, Butch was sent over to Spring Hill with Rory. So then Rory kind of gives him a mouthful for what he'd done. But there wasn't a lot he could do because it caused no problems for him, right? It was just after the fact.
Yeah.
Right?
So, Chris, has any of your books been a bestseller yet?
My most recent book, Murder in Bay Bulls, was a bestseller on Amazon for 3 full days.
Wow.
Which is amazing as a self-published author, and more amazing as a Newfoundland and Labrador self-published author. Ladies in the Lane made #2 on Amazon for 3 or 4 hours before it start dropping off. But Murder in Bay Bulls was there for almost 3 full days, which...
That's incredible. And I love how you incorporate your roots and Newfoundland and Bay Bulls and, the shore into your novels. How does that feel that you can express that?
Well, I always wanted to write a book about Bay Bulls. I'm from Bay Bulls, right? I love Bay Bulls. From Witless Bay, I love Witless Bay. All great people. But Ladies in the Lane and Murder in Bay Bulls are both based in Bay Bulls in the early 70s, right? And there's a lot of... people are tied into the boat stories. Their names are changed, but if you grow up in Bay Bulls and you're up in age, you will kind of put the people in, who they are. Put them in order.
He's like, oh wait, I know this, or I can relate to the story somehow, right?
Yeah.
So is that how you incorporate your writing? It's just like taking tidbits of real life stories and kind of making it fiction?
Historical fiction, right? You have fiction, and then you bring in a little bit of fact, events that happened over the years and circumstances, and tie it into your fiction.
That is an excellent, and I mean, like, it's a genre that I love too.
And it takes a while to get good at it, right? Like, every time I send a manuscript to my editor, almost every time she comes back and she says to me, Chris, you're getting better.
Yeah,
you're getting better at it, right? And it flows, right? She said, every manuscript got less editing. Right, but like I said, it's like anything. When you get into it, you get good at it.
And you're so passionate about it.
Oh my God, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. You won't get rich at it. It's only a hobby.
Yeah. Right? But you're so passionate about it, and you can tell, like, the enthusiasm that you have when you're talking about writing is so infectious. So I love that.
And my covers, I love my covers.
Yeah.
I put a lot of thought and a lot of work into my covers.
Clearly, when you're, especially when you were talking about the Working the Trail one, I was just like, it's so vivid and explains everything. Now I understand.
Yeah. Murder in Bay Bulls is the window behind the altar in the Roman Catholic Church, St. Peter's and Paul's in Bay Bulls.
Wow!
Yeah,
so you're really incorporating Newfoundland.
People love it.
Yeah.
Ladies in the Lane, people love that. It's historical fiction about 4 old women living on Box Lane in Bay Bulls, and there was 4 old women living on Box Lane in Bay Bulls.
Wow.
Right?
So if someone was interested in self-publishing, would you mentor them or help them along the way? So how would you, what advice would you give?
Self-publishing, the easiest thing to do with self-publishing is write the story, write the novel.
Yes.
Right? The editing, the copy editing, the proofreaders, the cover design, that's the work. Right? Like, I can pump out a novel or 2 every single year, but everything else takes time. Editors takes time. Sometimes editing takes longer than the actual novel to write it.
That's right.
Right? And then you got a copy editor, right, and proofreaders and that, right? So it's going to be the way of the future, without a doubt.
Yeah, and speaking about the future and looking ahead, what do you have in your pipeline? You got anything on the go? Or
my editor, about 2 weeks ago, my editor started my 6th novel. It's called The Birder and the Undertaker.
Ooh,
I'm a birder.
Yes.
And my family used to own the funeral home in Bay Bulls. So it's the family moves to Bay Bulls in 2007. A mother and father and a son, and buys a funeral home. Their son is a birder. Right? Bird watcher. And he goes birding with 2 birders from the university, students from Mon. The son has a second personality that nobody told him about, so he starts figuring this out. He keeps getting lost, and they had to bring in Rover Search and Rescue a couple of times to find him. But lo and behold, they kept birding with him, and he ended up having a 3rd personality, and the 3rd personality is dangerous and wild.
Wow.
But while they were living in Bay Bulls, there was murders happening in Scottsdale, Arizona. So they got DNA, and then the FBI gets involved because they were gone out of country. So it goes back and forth between Scottsdale, Arizona, and Bay Bulls, and it's kind of a long and dragged out. There's a lot of DNA, a lot of signs in it. But I'm trying not to say too much because I hate giving away.
This is my genre that I love, so I'm like, you can probably see the excitement on my face when you're talking about it.
Yeah. But the father was a real conniver.
Oh.
Real conniver.
So some backstabbing, some thriller, some crime. I love it.
Yeah, it's my longest novel yet. It's 93,000 words. It's at my editors. So I'm thinking I could lose 5,000 or 10,000 words, but that's a part of it.
Yeah, and so what would you say, how can people get in contact about or buy your books?
Well, my books are at Coles Chapters, Fairland Foodland, Gooby's North Atlantic Store. I have my Coles in Corner Brook. Right?
You're all over.
Yes, and I always have a load of books in my vehicle, right?
Yeah.
And I'm on social media. I'm on Facebook if anybody needs a book or wants a book. And right?
That sounds inspiring, and thank you so much. I love this interview, and I cannot wait to read your books.
Thank you for having me on.
Thank you so much.
I enjoyed it.
And we'll be right back after this short break. There it is. Whoop, there it is. Hey, want to thank you so much for tuning in to tonight's episode. And of course, thanks to our guest, Coach Gaines with the Newfoundland Rogues. So be sure to reach them and go to one of their games. And of course, Chris Ryan, author. So go get one of his books. Until next time, much love.
This program is brought to you by Rogers Xfinity, connecting you to more of what you love. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
We want to hear from you. Provide feedback on this show or find out how you can get involved. Call, email us, or scan the QR code to take our quick survey.
4 nations facing off.
For what? For friend.
And foe.
4 teammates turned rivals.
For the frozen ponds of Sweden.
And Scottsdale.
For still believing in miracles.
Lejonal. 40 kronor.
For the Maple Leafs.
For the entire world to see.
4 nations facing off.
Welcome to the traditional, ancestral, unceded territory of the Stalo people. The Stalo are people of the river. I'm so thankful for the courage and resiliency of our ancestors who lived on this land since time immemorial. Each of us have gifts from the Creator, and our Creator has a plan and purpose to be fulfilled in our territory. As we embrace our traditional teachings, we can lead the next generation into the fullness of what our Creator designed. Our shared history reveals a broken relationship, but as all Canadians commit to hear truth, acknowledge injustice, we can learn to walk in our traditional way, Letsamot, with a good heart and a good mind. Then all of our lives will be enriched. Kwasai.
After a night out with your friends, there's always options for getting home safely.